All right, guys, I have big news. Someone by the name of Henry has an appointment to go to the vet on Thursday. And that will be the last time that he ever goes outside without supervision in his cat carrier. So that's my big news. I'm excited. Yes, he's so sweet. Look at this little guy. Just wants to be loved. Tiger's hanging out in the kitchen. He really doesn't seem to care at all, which is good. So I think they'll be good brothers for each other. And hopefully they'll be good friends, I hope. Yesterday I tried this new wave spray that my stylist got for me. It's from Dry Bar, and you're supposed to use it on wet or dry hair. And I did put it on my hair when it was wet yesterday. And it looked pretty good last night, but today it's just kind of like a floppy flop. I didn't put more on. Maybe later I'll just do it to try. So I put the rest of the Hermes Balm on. It doesn't look bad. I just have some of that on, and I did put a little bit of blush and some mascara. And I put some tinted lip balm. I have the camera crooked. Let me fix this. I put some tinted lip balm, and this is Sisley Paris, the Fido Lip number 8. And it looks like this. It's really a bright pink. I think it's a nice summertime pink. I line my lips with this Chanel Pencil Rose Poudre, which is a nice pink. It's a light pink. So you really need to use it with brighter colors and lighter pinks and not your deeper rose colors. I have another pencil for that. And then I have this Chanel Gloss on top of it. And this is number 804. So just because I felt like it, I mean, I was planning to go to Target, but there's somebody parked blocking my driveway, and I don't feel like maneuvering my car around this other car in the rain. It's so rude, and when I've told people before not to block my driveway, which is illegal, it's illegal to park in front of somebody's driveway and go past the ramp, which lets you go in and out easily. And I've always been told off that I can get in and out and that it's not a problem and that they're not blocking me. And they are. I mean, I've done the misdeed of parking in front of someone's house and they've knocked on the door asking me to move. Not blocking anything because they all think that they own the parking spot in front of their house. But yeah, it's just really frustrating. So that's what you have to deal with sometimes in the city. I'm glad I have a driveway. I mean, that's definitely an advantage. And nobody uses their garages here to put their car in because there's not much storage in the house. So you can't really pull in the garage. And not like it would matter for me anyway because I'm just one car. But it's just beyond rude to park where the person can't get out. I don't know. But anyway, I thought I'd do a little short story time and talk about when I used to work at a cosmetics counter. So way back in the day, I think I mentioned this when I did my Get Ready With Me video. I used to work at Macy's. I was the counter manager for Prescriptives Cosmetics. And if anybody remembers Prescriptives, it was an Estee Lauder company. And they were the company who, at the time, pioneered having a huge shade range of shades available for all skins. And that was their big philosophy, that it was for all skins. And they had a product for every skin type and every skin shade. And we also did custom blend foundations and custom blend powders. And it was a great line. I mean, people would come in and they would get color printed, which basically meant you'd take a shade depth that was appropriate for the person's skin. And then there were different, how can I say it? There were different tones within that range. So you'd have blue-red or red-orange or yellow-orange or just red, I guess was the other one. Anyway, it's not important. But you try to find the closest match to the person's skin tone. And we really were able to match pretty much everyone with a gorgeous color that would suit their particular skin needs. And it was fun, but, you know, some people would go in there and they would just take it so seriously. I had a customer who was upset because they bought a lipstick, and the lipstick formula that came out at the time was not a satin and not a matte, but it was a very smooth, let's say almost like a satin finish, and it didn't have any shine, but it wasn't a flat matte. And this was in the early 90s, and matte lipsticks were really big. Little Tiger's got a little hairball, poor baby. You all right, baby? It's okay. Eventually, the hairball will come up. I don't get nervous. He's going to eat his lunch. But anyway, I mean, this woman was just ready to, like, come after me. Literally come after me. There was another episode where we had a tower of fragrances. And I think Clinique now has Calyx, which was the Prescriptives fragrance. I don't know what it's called now, if it's still called Calyx. I haven't seen it. I'd love to get my hands on a bottle, but Calyx was a grapefruit-based fragrance, and it was just really clean and beautiful and crisp. It was just lovely. And we had a metal tower that was about, I don't know, maybe like 2 feet high that stood on the counter. And one day a woman walked by, and I think her handbag knocked over the fragrance tower, and the glass broke, and the perfume got all over. And this woman started to scream and curse about how her shoes were ruined, and she had to have all this. And I said, ma'am, I said, calm down. I said, let me call the manager over, and why is this there? And I remember going up to, like, the big department head and getting basically chewed out. And I said, I'm not the one who decided to put this rack there. My rep told me, because whenever you go to a department store, when you see a counter dedicated to whatever, Estee Lauder, Lancome, Chanel, there's a company rep who comes, and they come around and they make sure that everything in your bay, which is the display area where the cosmetics are, they make sure that the products are facing the proper way, and that you have the right things on display, and that you're interacting with the pre-formulated way that you're supposed to interact with the customer. So the store manager was just chewing me out, and I said, look, my rep told me that this Calyx display has to stay there. And he was just going off about how this woman was going to have to, we're going to pay for her cleaning. And I said, look, I said, my shoes, which at the time were really expensive, they got perfume on them too. I understand how she feels. And from him, crickets. Crickets. I mean, it was really, really frustrating. And just so you know, there are commissions paid to the women that work in the department stores. I don't know how Sephora works or Ulta, but if you go into a department store, at least it's how it worked when I was there, the Chanel person, for example, will get a commission of whatever they sell. So there's always a lot of competition around among the women who work for a particular brand, unless it's a solo brand. Like in our store, Dior was a solo brand, so there was only one person at a time always working at Dior. But Prescriptives was popular, so we had 3 people working pretty much all the time. Once in a while, you would have a day where, you know, maybe I'd be by myself or I'd be with one other person, but most of the time there were 3 of us. And Estee Lauder had like 5 people that were there at the time. So there's a big push for these people to get out and sell you as much product as they can, because they're making commission. And Prescriptives at the time had the best commission structure. We had, I think, an 8% commission of our sales. And then since I was the counter manager, I got a 1% override of what everyone sold. But take my word for it, it's not as easy as you would think it would be to sell cosmetics unless the person comes in and has a specific need for a product. A lot of times people, you know, they just sit there and spin your wheels, and you could be out working with another customer. Or at the time, people paid bills in person, and someone will come up to your counter and they want to pay their bill, and you're paying a bill while there's people who need to be helped, who you could possibly, make some commission money off of. So I left that job when I got my current job, and I wasn't too upset over it. It was fun. I met a lot of really nice women. We used to hang out. We used to have a great time. But the constant rat race with trying to get customers to spend money, and which is what you really had to do in order to survive with a sales job, it was just so where they bring us in for these meetings. And the meetings were, I want to say, like at least twice a year. And they'd introduce new products, and they'd come up with a different presentation that we'd have to use to sell those products, and the specific things that we were told to say about those products. And I remember they were very particular about the uniform. And our uniform at the time was a black jacket, a black skirt or black slacks, black pants, and a white t-shirt underneath. And the t-shirt had to have a round neck, and it couldn't be with any kind of a print or a design. And you had to have your hair up and away from your face at all times. If I wore my hair like this and my rep came in, I would get laid out. I mean, there would be no coming back from that, because it wasn't Prescriptives. But I remember being at this meeting, and I had a skirt and black tights on, because you could only wear black tights, never a nude color. And I had a nail that was broken. And when the presentation started, I didn't know what to do, how I was going to file my nail. So I did wind up finding something inside my bag, and I filed the jagged edge of my nail. And do you know, when we had our 15-minute break, one of the reps came over to me and said that I was very rude because I was doing my nails while the speaker was speaking. And I turned around to her and I said, well, Lisa, her name's Lisa, and the last I saw, she was working for Kiehl's at Neiman Marcus at Valley Forge. I said, well, Lisa, I said, if I don't file my nail, I'm going to get a snag in my stocking, and then you're going to holler at me for having a snag in my stocking. So I really needed to do that before I wound up with a bigger catastrophe. I didn't miss any of the presentation, and I'm sorry that it offended you. What else could you say? Oh, and the first day that I started, Lisa was pretty heavy. When she was getting me my uniform, she went out to the car from the department store. She went out to the car because she had forgot to bring it in, and she brought me my uniform jacket. Now, at the time, I was probably around maybe 115 pounds, maybe. I was very, very, very thin, and I wore a size 4 dress. She came back in with a size 16. I can't even fit in a 16 now, okay? 16 would be a little bit big on me. And I put it on, and it was humongous. And I said, Lisa, this doesn't fit. And she said, you don't think? I said, I know it doesn't fit. She was so irritated. She went out to the car, and she finally brought me back in the right size. And I think she probably sized up. I was probably an extra small, and I think she gave me a small because I wanted it to have a little bit of room. But she was just beside herself. So that was my experience working in cosmetics. I hope you enjoyed this little story. Ho, ho, ho for the holidays. All right. And for part of my dinner, I have some kicking crab soup and some saltines. And I'm going to eat the rest of the chicken wings that are left over from last night. I think there's maybe 5 or 6 wings, and that'll be just perfect. This soup is so, so yummy. If you have a giant nearby, this is called kicking crab, and it's good. I got my Williams-Sonoma hot chocolate. Thanks, Autumn, for starting this new addiction. And yes, I did add whipped cream. We're ready to start advent calendars. But before I start advent calendars, good news. Thursday, Henry has a vet's visit scheduled. So I'm sure he's going to check out fine. And he's got only a couple more days, and then it's going to be my son. I'm a happy cat mommy. What can I say? And for those of you who don't know, Tiger was adopted. He was a rescue. He was born to someone who lived on the block. They had some cats, and when they moved, they left the cats behind. Now, I don't know what was wrong with this woman. I really don't, because she was allegedly a veterinary assistant, and her husband was a chef. And one day, out of the blue, they just up and left. And this isn't the kind of area where people just kind of, you know, move in the middle of the night and back a truck up and leave. So when they were gone, it was really a shock to everyone. And they left their cats behind, and one was pregnant. And she had kittens in the backyard. To make a long story short, Tiger was one of those kittens. He was the only kitten that would let me pet him. And he let me feed him by hand. And one day, before he actually let me pick him up and, you know, really was that comfortable with me, he just kept rolling over and over and over and showing his belly and meowing. And from that day on, he started to follow me. And he was about 4 months old when he came in. And he got neutered. And that's it. That's all he's known. And he had 3 other siblings at the time who tried scaring the pants off of him. But he was okay. And he doesn't seem to mind Henry at all. I mean, he seems comfortable with him. And, you know, I think Tiger's at the stage in life now where he just doesn't care. He's comfortable in his spot. He knows I love him. He's got his food, his toys, and I'm sure they'll be able to work all of that out. Okay, to the advent calendars. But first, one more thing. I did try, well, most of the products in the Saban calendar I've tried before. 2 new products for me were the linen mist, which I sprayed yesterday and I love. This floral mask, this jelly floral mask, it says floral mask gelée. Ash told me you have to try this right away because it's really hydrating. It's got beautiful rose petals in it. And yes, it absolutely does. So what I did, because he said that his friend uses it as a rinse-off mask, I put it on, I rubbed it in, I let it stay for maybe 10 minutes, and just rinsed it off, patted my face down, and I used a hydrating toner, and then put my creams on afterwards, my serum and the creme de la mer, which I'm using now at night. And guys, oh my gosh, it did an awesome, awesome job. So I'm still a little bit, this color is okay with the Hermes Balm, but not my favorite. I like the other one a little bit better. I think that this has a tiny bit too much pink and doesn't look as natural, but it's okay. The other product that I hadn't used before is this 2-in-1 facial cleanser, and it's really, really nice. It feels fantastic going on, and it's got a nice fragrance. So, yay and yay. There's nothing in this box that I haven't used that I don't really love. So, I'm going to leave the link to Saban. I don't know if they still have the advent calendar, or if if anybody wants to buy it just to get the products, but their things are just spectacular, and everything is packaged beautifully. You won't be disappointed. It's not an affiliate link. I'm just going to turn people on because it's just a really nice company, and if you like nice bath products and nice self-care things, they're great. So, what's today? Day 12. Just can't get it straight, guys. I don't know what this story is. But I remember I have to do day 11 because I did 12 yesterday. So, here is day 11. And it's this beautiful pink box. It's got the number 11 in the gold foil, as typical. And, oh, it's a hand cream, rose tea. Now, this fragrance, I don't know. I've never tried it. So, I'm going to put a little bit on now and see what the rose tea smells like. I'm sure it's really beautiful. You know, their fragrances are very delicate. So, if you're not somebody who particularly likes a heavy fragrance, this is excellent. Oh, it's beautiful. It smells like tea rose, which is one of the scents I remember from when I was a little girl My aunt used to grow tea roses, and they just smelled incredible. And it was always one of my favorite fragrances. Oh, it's just beautiful. And it's really silky, goes into your hands. Fantastic. I love it. It's definitely a better cream than the Chanel hand cream in the egg. For sure. So I have to put the boxes back. Otherwise, everything's going to cave in over itself. And I'll never be able to get it open nicely. So here we go with Angelina. And I got my backup ready. And I have my hot chocolate, so I'll have a good chocolate fix. So today is day 12. And let's see, did I open 12 yesterday? I might have. That's 15. Cheap tidbits of chocolate. And numbers that are really hard to see. So, where the heck is 12? That's 15, 2, here's 12. 12 is over here. What kind of failure is this going to be? All right, I got it. Poked through. As I predicted, I got a whole box, basically, of these little balls that are not even the size of an M&M. Here you go. Oh, wait a minute. This is an almond. And it's a chintzy little almond. Look at the size of it. It's like nothing to it. It's just cheap and... It's tasty, but guess what? I'm cutting into this Tony's. We're going to see. Ow. It's a thick bar, guys. It takes a lot to break. All right. This is a piece of chocolate. Just so you know. Antonio contributes a lot of money to fight slavery in the chocolate industry. Highly approve. It's an awesome cause. All right, stay tuned for tomorrow. I'll see you then. Tuesday, I'm going to a party, and you're coming on Wednesday. I'll see you soon. Bye.